My name is Edmund W Parkinson.
So P-A-R-K.
P-A-R-K-I-N-S-O-N. I'm known as Ted.
Ted.
Yeah.
What is your birthday?
1st of the 3rd, 1929.
So March 1st.
1st of March, 1929.
You born in the year of Great Depression.
Yes.
Where were you born?
Born in Rose Bay in Sydney.
Sydney. Tell me about your family when you were growing up, when you were a child, your parents and your siblings.
Right. Well, I had a sister, an elder brother, and a younger brother.
Mm-hmm.
My father was part Maori, and he was district traffic supervisor for Sydney,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother was an Australian.
Tell me about the school you went through there.
I went to Wellington Street School. I really started in Bronte, and then I went over to Wellington Street School in Bondi,
Mm-hmm.
and finished at Sydney High.
So when did you join the military then?
I first joined the Australian Army in 1945 or 46, something like that. I'm not too sure now.
Yeah.
And ended up in Japan at the end of the war. And I came back from Japan in 1948 and was discharged. And then I went over to New Zealand, the country of my father's birth. And I met all of his relatives and what have you. And then the war broke out in Korea, and I joined the New Zealand Army.
Oh.
And I went over to Korea in the New Zealand Army as a forward observer for the artillery.
So when did you join the New Zealand Army?
1951.
1951. And where did you get the basic military training?
In Papakura.
Papakura?
Papakura in New Zealand, in the North Island, and I went somewhere else. I can't think of the name of the place though.
Did you get the basic military training there again?
Yes.
But you were also Australian Army, so you are a veteran.
Army.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was just a refresher, really.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So how was it to get the basic military training twice?
Well, it was pretty easy the second time because I knew what I was to expect all the time, so they made me a bombardier straight away. And I remained a bombardier for my life as in the artillery. And of course, I had previous training and it helped, and so they made me a forward observer, and I was the one looking at what we were firing at and sending fire orders back to the batteries to bring down fire on the enemy.
Mm-hmm. And what was your unit when you were in Australian Army?
168 AGT.
168
AGT.
AGT?
Yeah.
What is that?
Australian General Transport.
What does AGT means?
Australian General Transport.
Oh, okay. So you were not in the artillery?
120 platoon. No, that was the Australian Army. And when I went into New Zealand Army, that's when I was trained in artillery, and I became a forward observer for the artillery, finding the targets and calling down the shelling.
What was your unit in New Zealand Army?
16th New Zealand Field Regiment.
I'm sorry?
16th New Zealand Field Regiment.
Field Regiment.
Yes, 161 Battery. Baker Troop.
And by the time, did you know anything about Korea?
Yes, I did. I knew a bit about Korea.
Because you were in Japan, right? Yeah.
Prior.
What did you know about that?
Well, we went over to Korea whilst I was in Japan. Didn't stay long and then came back again. But I knew a bit about it, you know.
What did you know?
I don't know. What did I know? I knew where the towns were. I knew South Korea, virtually, because we met people and talked to them about it and looked it up on the maps and so forth, and that's why I've made a pretty reasonable observer, because I knew what I was looking at.
Had you imagined that you would be in the Korean War when you were in Japan?
No, not at all. But then, that's what happened.
That's what happened. So when did you arrive in Korea?
1951, I think it was.
What month?
Oh.
Summer, winter?
No, it was the middle of the year. Yeah.
Middle of the year.
Yeah.
And where did you arrive in Korea?
Seoul.
Seoul?
Yeah.
So did you take a flight from Japan?
From Japan, yeah. No. We came across by boat.
Right. Where did you arrive? Busan or Incheon?
Busan or Incheon? Geez, I don't know. We got off the boat and then we were put on a train and we came up,
To?
through the centre of Korea.
Okay, so it's got to be Busan.
Busan, yeah.
And then where did you end up?
Up in Seoul, I suppose.
Seoul?
Yeah,
Were you in Seoul?
yeah. And then we went forward of Seoul up to the 38th parallel.
Where? Was it in the
I think it was virtually in the centre left.
center left?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember any name or?
There were no names at the time.
No names.
No. We just had coordinates, map coordinates as to where we were and what we were doing.
So, as your artillery, what did you do? Where were you and what did you do?
Well, as artillery, I was a forward observer and I was up with the infantry all the time. The batteries were back in their stable positions, and where I looked for targets and called down targets to the battery and gave them fire orders, and they followed the fire orders and zeroed in on the targets that I sent them.
That's a very dangerous because you have to be in the upfront line, right? Very close to the enemy. Anything happen to you? Severe battle or snipe attack or anything like that?
Yeah, I had my leg blown off.
You wounded?
Lost my left leg.
You lost your leg?
Left leg.
Oh, what happened? Tell me about it. What
Well,
happened? How did it happen?
This is June 1953.
Yeah.
Finished in July, and I was going forward, and a mortar came over, landed behind me, exploded mainly that way, further back, but I got the remainder that came forward, and that was in my backside and both legs, and so I lost my left leg below the knee, and I wounded all down the right leg.
Was it direct hit? No, it wasn't direct hit.
No, it wasn't a
But
direct
how
hit.
did you lost your left?
It was blown so badly wounded, and the bone was snapped in half.
Shrapnel?
Shrapnel from the shrapnel, shrapnel and blast. And
Do you remember the moment that you were attacked?
Oh,
what
yeah.
was it? What? Tell me.
well, I was calling down fire against the opposition, and this mortar came over and landed behind me, and exploded, and I took the blunt of it.
What were you thinking? You were fighting for a country you didn't know very well, and you lost your leg.
Well,
Did you regret? Was it
not at all.
not at all?
I was doing what I was trying to do, and as a matter of fact, I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed.
My army life, yeah.
But I'm talking about the day that you lost your left
The day
leg.
that I lost my leg, I was bundled back through trenches and up around above the trenches when I had to go around corners and what have you, and then put into an ambulance and then taken back and then from there into the hospital and into Seoul.
What hospital? Where?
At the back of the line. It was only a medical hospital, and then
MASH?
MASH hospital.
American MASH or?
No.
Was it Indian?
I think it was British.
British?
Yeah.
Okay.
English. Yeah, and from there, I was sent back and put on a plane and sent to Japan. And once I was in Japan, I was in the hospital in Seoul. No, that's not Japan. Wasn't Seoul. Kure.
Yeah.
The hospital in Kure, and that's where I had my leg amputated. And the other one all fixed up. And after spending some time there, I was evacuated and sent back to New Zealand, but we got as far as Australia, and I said, I'm not going any further than here because this is where I live. So I was discharged in Australia, in Sydney.
Looking back all those years, you know, and you sacrificed your left leg for Korean people.
Yeah,
What do you think about that?
I'd do it again. That's what I think about it. You know. It was my job.
Your wife is sitting with you right now,
Yes.
and you're saying that you're going to do it again?
She didn't know me then.
She doesn't want to lose you, okay?
No, but I wouldn't. I do it all over again, not do it again. Do it all over again.
Yep. I understood, but I was just pulling your leg.
Yeah, it comes off.
Yeah. Wow, that's a serious commitment to Korea. You have a very serious commitment.
Yeah, well, I appreciated the South Korean people. You know.
Why?
They were genuine, and they had courage, and every time we wanted help, they were the first there to give us help
Have you been back to Korea?
on several occasions.
When was the first time?
When was the first time, Corinne? Corinne?
2001. Did you go
2001.
together?
Yeah,
So,
official visit.
and when was the latest time?
2005. I was invited by the disabled organization from Busan.
Yeah. At this point, I want to invite your wife.
My name is Corinne Parkinson.
When did you marry?
Oh, 30 years ago.
30 years ago. But it was far after the Korean War, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. The second
And-
time for us around here.
Did he talk anything about his experience in the Korean War
Yes.
to you?
Yes, because I'm a psychologist, and so he talked to me.
Oh, you are the
And
psychologist.
I'm taking it. Yeah.
Oh. Did he have a PTSD?
Yeah.
Oh. What was the symptom?
Not at that time, but now he has. Yeah.
Oh. What is the symptom? Can you share that?
Forgetfulness and yeah, kind of sometimes a bit deaf. His vision is going. It's not too bad actually.
Okay. And what did he tell you? What do
About
you...
Korea, that he loved Korean people, and when we went back on a revisit in 2005 with all the disabled people, and he and a disabled, very disabled American colonel stood up together, and they asked him same question: do you mind being disabled? What is it? And they both said it was worth it.
Why was it worth, Edmund?
Because the rebuilding.
Tell me, Edmund, why was it worth
Worth
to
it.
lose your leg?
To see how the Koreans had come good, I can't think of the word, had come back. They came back so well and so delightful. They are an absolutely delightful race of people,
Yeah.
very helpful, and I just enjoy them.
The fighting spirit and
That's
to
right.
rebuild the whole country in such a short time, whereas other countries are still 100 years from now, and there's still rubble lying around, and it's so terrific what you've done in Korea. It's unbelievable, and he's so proud of having been there, and said yes, that was worthwhile because I mean you did it. Yeah, fighting
That's-
spirit, marvelous.
That's amazing, Edmund.
Well,
You're a great friend.
It's how I feel.
Yeah.
You know, my God, when I was wounded, there was no one quicker to my side than them. They looked after me like nobody's business, you know.
Yeah.
It's just so wonderful. So,
Mm.
and I was proud to have been of help.
Yeah.
So when you went back, you didn't know anything about Korea either, right?
Not much, just the country and so, and a lot of Dutch people. I'm originally Dutch. They felt they had a lot of lost their family of mine too. Yeah.
So tell me about the country you saw in 2001, the country that you fought in 1950. When was it? 53.
Yeah.
How different that was to you?
Well, South Korea was so magnificent, was brilliant. You know, it wasn't war-torn or knocked down or anything like that, like it was back in the early 1950s. I was just so proud that what we did enabled them to rebuild and relive and make a place so magnificent as it is today.
It's just something very meaningful history that we need to teach, but we don't teach about this thing. Do you know whether Australians are talking about the Korean War in the history class?
No, they don't. It's shocking.
Why is it that?
They don't even talk about their own wars.
They don't even talk about
They
the
don't
Second
talk
World
about-
War in New Guinea or in the Pacific at all either, you know.
I understand that people do not talk about the war, they don't like war, but still it has a very concrete historical outcome out of his service and his, you know.
I find it amazing that, like you saw, like in Japan and was it China, they deny it. Wars are not taught in schools anymore. I don't know why not, but it's just like that.
I suppose it's something that they're not terribly proud of in China,
No, but
you know.
But still, I mean, you know, it's to honor the people now. I can't believe it either, I don't know. In Europe they still do, they still have their services and so.
To honour the people who gave up their lives to
You know, the Turkish people saying that the best way to kill the veteran is to forget about what they did,
That's true.
you know.
I looked at,
Yeah. So, Edmund, what is Korea to you personally now?
a marvellous piece of history, as far as I'm concerned. I'm proud that I was there. I enjoy the Koreans, and I still have a lot of friends who served over there with me and at the same time. And it's just part of my life now.
So what would you say to the young generation about the war that you fought for in Australia?
The young generation.
Yeah, what would you say to them about the war?
About the war,
Yeah.
the war was like most wars. It wasn't lovely, but it was necessary and worthwhile for the result.
What do you think about the Korea that you know now through your husband?
Oh, I think it's
Korean.
fantastic. I couldn't believe it. It's just, I've seen photos of what it used to be, and what it is now. It's just what I like is about in such a short time, because I come from Europe. I've seen what war torn is, and I went 10, 20 years later after the war, still through Germany, and it was still all like it was just during the war. You come in Korea, and it's a couple of years later, and it's all rebuilt. It's just, you know, unbelievable what you.
When did you come to
accomplished.
Australia?
1960,
Ah.
in the 60s, yeah.
So you're from Netherlands?
I'm from the Netherlands. Yes.
Ah, been just there. I did an interview there too.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
The Netherlands participated in the
Yes,
war
they
too.
did. Yes.
Yeah,
Oh yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I've had some family members that died in the Korean War. Yeah.
Oh.
I didn't know that until we went to visit Seoul, I think. Yeah, the big war memorial there, and
How many children do you have? Grandchildren?
gosh, no,
Well,
you've got.
I've got
We're a new family.
second time around.
Both of us.
I have 3 from a previous marriage.
Anybody who are teaching in the school?
Oh yeah, mine are.
Wow.
Oh, and your son is, yeah.
My son is.
Yeah,
What
his
does he
son's-
teach?
He's Andrew.
Andrew. Oh, he teaches. What's he do? Does he teach? I can't
He's a
remember.
minister of religion.
He's a minister of religion.
Oh, I see.
Baptist, and he
Baptist.
goes in the churches. No, he goes in the schools and
Good.
and teaches
Got it.
children and
Yeah,
camps.
yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
my daughter was a teacher. I was a teacher. My son is a teacher.
So you don't seem to have any problem walking around.
I've had 66 years practice.
And I chase him.
I suppose I've had about 14 different artificial legs over a period,
Mm-hmm.
and every one is an improvement on the previous one, you know. So I played golf, and
You play golf?
Oh yes, yes.
Ah.
I got down to 4
4?
handicap.
4 handicap. Wow, that's
Yeah.
a very impressive. So you're hitting like 70s?
Oh yes, yeah. I used to break 72. 72 is the usual number, you know.
Are you kidding me?
I break 72, and sometimes I didn't. Most of the times I didn't, but
Best score that I have is 81.
That's very
81,
good.
that's a nice score. That's
But
what's that, 7
72
over?
is 10 less.
He was very determined.
No, 9 over. You're 9 over. 72, 9 over. 72 to 81.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
That's pretty good. You're playing well.
come on.
Oh, he's got medals from the. He played in the Masters, in the Veteran Masters, not with the disabled people. He always played with
Normal.
ordinary people and got medals, gold medals, silver medals.
And I've
Jeez.
played all over the world.
Yeah.
Forget about that.
Explain about the medal you have in your left chest there. Could you
On my
explain
left.
it?
That's my left.
Yeah.
This is your left.
Which one?
Yeah. What is it, the first one?
I don't know. I can't even see it.
Oops.
That's a black.
Black and white one.
Oh, I don't know.
You can't take them out, can you?
I could take them off. I could.
Wow. But you don't have to. There are Korean medal too, right?
Yeah, Korean
Yeah.
medals.
Uh-huh.
Japan.
Japan.
So,
That's a New Zealand one.
oh, got it. So by losing your left leg, that must have affected your life a lot, right?
Well, it did, but when I got back to Australia, I did courses, and I became an accountant.
Accountant.
Yep. And I worked for a finance company, Amalgamated Retailers Limited, who were the finance behind Walton Sears. And then eventually I had a news agency
Oh.
for 30 years.
Pretty good career. Huh?
20 years. 20 years. 20 years. About 20 years.
Does Australian government reward you as veterans who lost?
Oh yes. Now, once I retired, I became a TPI. That's totally and permanently
Yeah.
incapacitated ex-serviceman. And so I get a reasonable pension.
Pension.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good. Any other story that you haven't told me that you want to leave it to me?
No, not really. Only that
You're president of
I'm the president of the. What am I the president of?
Korean War.
Korean War Veterans Association in
Sunshine.
In-
Sunshine Coast
Sunshine Coast,
and
Yeah,
North.
North.
Yeah.
and Bundaberg and
Bundaberg,
Harvey Bay.
Bay,
Cairns.
all those places.
How many veterans here under your leadership?
Not a great number now. They've died off.
Used to be more than 100, 150 something like that.
Yeah.
There's still 20 in Cairns. There's not many here.
Yeah, that's why we are doing this, to preserve.
You're a bit late.
Yeah. But thank God, I haven't lost you yet.
No, it's great that there will be a record
Yes.
like this. This
Yes.
is absolutely magnificent.
Yep.
What we did just doesn't fade away.
Mhm.
We've still got records of it and photos.
Yeah, it is terrific.
Edmund, thank you so much for sharing your story, and thank you for your sacrifice. Your left leg, you lost 1952, 53, but you haven't regretted at all and you are proud of giving your part of your body for the Korean War. That's amazing. That's amazing to know, and I will never forget about it.
I'm proud to have helped.
Yeah.
That's what I am. Very proud to have been able to help them. And I have a large affinity with the South Koreans.
But what he's always told me when he was in hospital and he lost his leg and you looked in the bed next to you.
Oh, yeah.
And
Tell
what
me.
he said,
The bloke had lost his arm and his leg.
no, 2 arms.
2 arms, that's right, 2 arms.
And he,
And, you know, I all I thought that I'll get an artificial leg and I'll be able to walk anyway, or without it I'll be able to limp around. But he couldn't even pick his nose,
Right.
you know, which is a terrible thing to say, but he could not do anything. No arms, you know. And,
it's worse.
I think that's next thing to being dead,
Yeah.
is losing 2 arms.
So he thought a leg's nothing.
A leg in comparison to what he had was absolutely
Yeah, there are so much suffering going around all over the world and never ended.
That's
It's
right.
nothing new.
no.
That's the problem.
Yeah. When we went to the 2005 reunion from the disabled, there were so many disabled Korean soldiers at dinner, all in wheelchairs. It was just so, we were so upset. Because he says, I still can walk. And there was just, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know,
They're restricted to wheelchairs. They can't get around without a wheelchair, and they've got to be helped in and out of wheelchair.
and
I
they
at least have a certain amount of individuality. I can do things for myself.
Yeah.
You know.
You are a very nice person.
Of course he is. He's married to me.
I'm biased.
No,
Nicely biased.
it's
Yep.
the way you look at life. That's it. Yep. And I think you're doing that's tremendous what you're doing this, even at this late time in age. Late time.
What does happen to this that you're doing now?
Why?
What?
What happens to what you're doing now? Do you make a movie of it, or do you...
No, we are making educational material with
Oh, good,
this.
yeah.
So,
Wow.
so for example, this is the lesson plan and primary and secondary resources for the teachers so that they can teach about Korea. And we are publishing another book like that, which has a lot of lesson plan and
that's
resources for the teachers on the Korean War.
Yeah.
But that's not just another book on the Korean War.
it's-
It is made upon
Yep.
exact quotes of the veterans that we interviewed.
Yes.
So that's going to be something very special, curricular resources made by you guys, Korean War. So
You don't
could
have a-
yeah,
another
could
one
you
of these,
could
do
you
you?
show
No,
that? Could you show that? Bring it up to your chin, so that that's why we are doing this.
Yep.
You know, because sooner or later there will be no Korean War veteran because we all die. And not many people will talk about Korean War. The best way to keep your legacy, the best way not to waste the loss of your left leg is to educate our history teachers so that they can talk about it forever.
That's
Right?
Yep.
So that's why we are doing this. And we made a documentary film. This is the documentary film, and I want to give it to you and share that with the veterans in your chapter.
Thank you very
Show
much.
show that to the camera, please. Corinne? Yes. Yeah. And the gentleman in the left side, he is the former POW, prisoner of war, kept in the camp for 3 years.
Yikes.
And he finally, freed.
Yeah.
And then the right person there is his great grandson. And 2 years ago, he just graduated from the high school. We took them to Korea, and we took the film and let them engage in the conversation about the war that he fought for and the war that he didn't really know.
Do you know his name?
His name is Arden Rowley. Arden Rowley.
Arden Rowley. I knew it.
Yeah, he is from Utah in the United States.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
American.
Yeah, American, yes.
Oh, yeah.
He's quite well known POW, and he.
I know the name Rowley.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's another Rowley.
Is it?
So that's why we are
fantastic, huh?
doing this. So it's not just preservation of your memory, but we're going to use it to make curricular resources.
Yep.
And anybody in the classroom can check in the website and click Edmund Parkinson, and then they will hear from not just from you, but from Corinne too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so
Out there. Now
pleased
now
that
you're
I
a star.
could be here.
Now you're a star.
I'm a star, not of television.
But we have 1,200 of those
Oh my gosh.
1,200 stars, yeah?
interviews. I'm sorry, you are just one of 1,200.
1,200,
Oh, you're only one of them.
but one of the leading.
Yeah, but you are a few with wives, so you are special.
Oh, good.
There you go.
There.
Any other message you want to leave to this interview about your war?
No, I don't think anything I want to say more about the war, but I am so proud that you are doing this and you're going to pass it on and people will know about it, that our war wasn't something that happened a long while ago. It wasn't as big as the Second World War and it happened in between the Vietnam War and the Second World War sort of thing. This is telling people about that particular war.
Yeah. And this is the war that has been hostage to the Korean people for 70 years. We don't have a peace treaty. The superpowers around the Korean peninsula doesn't want to change anything there. That's why it's a status quo there for 70 years. It's a ridiculous war. But it's the war that you lost your left leg and so many people's lives. And there has to be something coming out of better than what Korea is now.
But it was a war where South Koreans have a much, much happier life than anyone in North Korea, I should think.
Yep.
It's the show. I think it's the show of the willpower. What you can do if you get together and you aim for the same thing and you all join up together. That's what you do, and that's you're such a good example. It's terrific. It's fantastic.
I'm very
really.
proud to have been able
I'm
to come along here and be interviewed by you
Hey.
It's absolutely
and
fantastic.
ask the
Thank you.
questions that get my memory working.
Yes.
I give you the right answers.
Yep. Thank you.
I
very
want to
much.
thank you again. Here, look at me, Corinne. Smile. Give me a smile.
Cheese.
That's what you can do better. Do better. Big smile. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.